Alrighty guys, we're back for some Sarkhan Dragons, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath Standard Brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? Sarkhan, Soul of Flame is a 3-mana 2/4 legendary creature. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Nice. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, and it's legendary in addition to its other types. Pretty cool card, guys. Overall, it was mostly just difficult figuring out what dragons I wanted to build around at that point, and what I ended up choosing was a Capricious Hellraiser, which is a 6-mana 4/4. It costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more spells in your graveyard, which actually does come in handy every now and then, right? It's got triple red in the casting cost, though, so we got to be cautious with that, right? So it's a flying 4/4. And when it enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them, copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. This happens to be pretty good, guys. The last few times we played a Hellraiser deck, it kind of sort of did a lot. So we'll see what we can pull off with it in this particular build. Of course, we have other dragons packed in here. Moonveil Regent, it's a 4-mana 4/4 flying. Whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each of that spell's colors. So in this deck, it could be like potentially draw 2 if you play like a Sarkhan. Other than that, you might not do that top ability too often. We're really just looking at this as a dragon in here. And it has a pretty good bottom ability, I suppose. When it dies, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Again, the most that's going to be in this deck is only 2, but you never know. It could be that last little bit of damage plugging through off of a copied Moonveil with like a Fable of the Mirror, which of course we have 4 of in here. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, can you imagine not playing 4 of them in this build, though? I can't, so... What else do we got packed in here, guys? We definitely have more ways to get dragons on the board, but like Elder Dragon War, you know, it's not going to cost 1 less if you have the Sarkhan on the board, unfortunately. But when that dragon, when the dragon token does come out on the 3rd chapter, that should still work with the Sarkhan because it just says whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control. So you can have this be a 4/4 flying and swing in with it. So that's still pretty cool. And then that top ability, Board Wipe, actually does come in handy quite often, especially if mono red managed to go wide with a bunch of Phoenix Chick or something, right? So, okay, anything else? Yeah, Invasion of Tarkir is a 2-mana battle siege with 5 defense. And when it enters the battlefield, reveal any number of dragon cards from your hand. And when you do, Invasion of Tarkir deals X plus 2 damage to any other target, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. So we're kind of considering this removal in this particular deck. I don't know how often we're actually going to be hitting face over just trying to smack a creature with this, right? More removal, opting for the Cathartic Pyre because we have that option to just send cards to the grave. If we're up against control or something that happens to be very powerful, you might end up sending both cards to the grave, filter out, and the more you stock your grave, the more powerful the Capricious Hellraiser becomes. So Bitter Reunion also helping us stock that grave, a little bit of card draw, and in this deck in particular, giving creatures haste happens to be pretty good, especially if you're spamming stuff onto the board, spamming dragons out there. Activating Bitter Reunion and swinging in the air with a bunch of dragons sounds pretty good, guys. More board wipe with a couple Brotherhood's End. I think this is going to do a lot in here, even if it comes down to just destroying all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. You'd be surprised how often that actually comes in handy. Taking out a couple Bank Busters, for example, or if you're going up, there's some control decks that have their top end finisher as the White Sun's Twilight or whatever it's called, right? So they create a bunch of artifacts. Of course, the 3 damage can also do that too, but if they are playing that control deck, then you never know. They might have some Bank Busters as well. So yeah, Brotherhood's End has been doing a lot for me recently. Oh, I missed a dragon. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. 3 mana 2/2, double strike, and when it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand if you do draw 3 cards. Just another way to filter, keep our graveyard nice and stocked for the Capricious Hellraiser, and it works as a dragon for the Invasion of Tarkir and the Sarkhan as well. Has Unearth for 3 and double red. Not too bad, guys. More board wipes, Burn Down the House, also acting as another way to help us close up games with the Devils. A couple of them, maybe it should be more, not really sure. Mightstone, Weakstone acting as a more removal, -5/-5, hits a lot of stuff and really helps mono red out overall. And then also potential card draw, which is very, very important. And Mightstone, Weakstone also works really well with Hellraiser too. There's going to be moments where you play one and then you play the second one and it's legendary. So the first one goes to the grave, and now that that's in the grave, you can start picking it up with the Hellraiser, right? So yeah, pretty good. Top end here, guys, 1 with the Multiverse, 8 mana enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library, and once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost. Just a way to help us wrap up the game by spamming out a whole bunch of stuff on the same turn. Excuse me, guys. Portal to Phyrexia. Of course, we got 3 of them. Maybe it should be 4. I'm not really sure. It was really hard to pack cards in here, guys. You guys can probably tell from the build that like there's so much that could go in here. Like, yeah, I don't know. We might want 4 portals. We'll see. So it's a 9 mana artifact. Honestly, 4 might be too much. 3 might be exactly where we want it, but yeah. When Portal enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. Yeah, a lot of ways to wipe the opponent's board in this deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. So of course we're trying to cheat this out onto the board with Hellraiser, but with ramp off of like Mightstone, Weakstone and stuff, it's not going to be impossible to just outright cast the Portal for 9 mana. If we do end up cheating it out with the Hellraiser, then at any point, if the opponent ends up killing the Hellraiser, we'll just bring it back and use that ability again, which happens to be pretty disgusting overall. The mana base, guys, we do have some tap lands over here, opting for a couple Swiftwater Cliffs. I think the life gain on this is going to be a little bit better than just being able to filter off the cycling on Xander's Lounge, but I do have one Xander's Lounge in here just for the sake of being able to cycle this out if we end up flooding out, which I'm not sure we're going to flood out in this deck. We have 25 total land. I think that's right where we want it. All 4 reef, all 4 coasts, a Crucible, and a Soaring City, heavily leaning towards the red in the mana base, which of course makes a lot of sense here. Honorable mentions, guys. Invasion of Mercadia I thought about as an additional way to help us close up games. I think Bitter Reunion is going to be much better in here. Reckless Handling. Yeah, this is a new one from the Aftermath. I think we're going to want to base a deck around Reckless Handling, like with a lot more artifacts. I don't think it belongs in this particular build, but it could be cool. It can immediately search up the portal to Phyrexia, get that in our hand, you know what I mean? So maybe. Scrapwork Mutt I thought about for a little bit. This new Warmongerer, we're going to have to try out another dragon build that's a little bit more aggressive, I guess, right? It says a 3 mana 3/2 with haste, and when it attacks, you look at the top 6 cards of your library, reveal a dragon card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whew, this is good, guys. I think this is a pretty solid card. But in this particular build, like, we're super mid-range and kind of slash control at this point. So I don't think Warmongerer would have fit in this particular deck. Thought about Celestis. It's just a great card overall, but yeah. I thought about the Invasion of Vryn as well. Just more ways to get cards into the grave, and I don't think it's half bad overall. It's a pretty good card draw, honestly, but I thought about Atsushi, of course. Thought about the Swirling Sky. Thought about Tyrant of Kir Ridges, and of course, Cityscape Leveler and Shivan Devastator. Almost made the cut, but there's just so much we could potentially pack into this deck, and I wanted it to be at least relatively consistent, so I don't know. Alright guys, that's the list. It should be a fun one overall, so either way, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, guys, what am I expecting from the list? It's probably going to be janky, but every time I say that with a Hellraiser deck, it ends up just being insane. Honestly, we might have had a 100% win rate last time we played with Hellraiser. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain. Ooh, okay, we go first. We don't have the third mana, guys, and we don't have a blue source. It should probably be a mulligan. But we're going to risk it. Let's do this. Come on, guys. We'll see it. We'll see it. We do have early removal with the invasion, too. If we want to save it. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything's fine. I am going to save this invasion for early removal because it can take out a Blood Tithe Harvester pretty easily. And if we don't see a third mana, then we'll want to do that. There's the Blood Tithe Harvester. A second invasion. Oh, we're going to see it, guys. We got 25 mana in here. And look, all right. The second invasion isn't that bad. And as soon as we see the third mana, Fable comes down, and then we're good to go for a while, so. Or if they end up going wide, then Brotherhood's End is insane. Okay, Portal is the discard, because we're eventually going to try to bring it back. Okay, Rona. Huh. Grixis. Uh-oh, another Fable. Okay, we can do this. We can do this, guys. We're gonna get there. just a classic instance of do we hit that Liliana? I'm gonna hit that Liliana because if they go +1 and we draw a land, we'll have Brotherhood's End and maybe pick up a couple of their creatures too and hit the Liliana. Right? I think that's fine. Ooh, at Sushi. Come on, guys. We're going to see that third land. I'm sweating. In classic Red Cat fashion, I refused to mulligan, and here we are. Should probably get rid of Mightstone, Weakstone, unfortunately, guys. We got to, like... Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. 26 land. We got to go up. No, I'm just kidding. We obviously got to play more matches before we decide. Aww. I'm a little sad, though. We got very punished for not mulligan, or for not dropping the mulligan early, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what? We could still get there. We could. I'm gonna have a little bit of faith here. You never know. They found their blue source. Let's go. Okay, do we go right into Fable to try to like get the ramp and the mana fix for Sarkhan then? We go Fable, they go -2 on the Liliana. If we go Brotherhood's End, Liliana is the only thing that gets hit. At Sushi still being a huge threat. I think it's going to be Fable, just for the sake of filtering on our turn. We're going to filter out one of the Sarkhan and potentially the other Fable just for the sake of seeing more, but we know how double Fable can be very powerful too. Because it's just like, it just spams good stuff for you. It's just constant good things coming your way when you drop a Fable, so I could see Fable number 2 being something we keep here and drop the Brotherhood's End. Oh, what are they reanimating? Oh, nothing. They're gonna go searching. This is where they... Okay, well, it's probably the same decision. It's between Fable and... Wow, they get rid of one of my Sarkhans. I'm a little sad about that.
I'm tired of your
We're running out of cards, guys. Alright, I guess we better get rid of the other Sarkhan, too. We don't have the blue source for it anyways. The Liliana is now over the Brotherhood's End. Moonveil can block in the air, so we should keep that and look for the 4th land, right? Hey, now we're only going to see land for a while, though, so we should be scared. We should be very scared. And they get to search, so they can just search for removal. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, geez. This would have been an uphill battle even if we saw the land, let's be real. They can also -2 the Liliana, too. Like, they have options for days, guys. Oh, wow, they searched up an Italian. They could just straight up cast it with 7. Hey, Bitter Reunion doesn't do anything. They don't have anything in their hand. And Fable. Huh. All right, let's let them play this out, guys. -2, and then we hit nothing except for face. I guess we'll hit the Liliana, actually. Get it down, try to keep the Liliana at bay a little bit. We're super dead regardless, even our... Oh, wow. Wow, guys, if we could have played the Hellraiser, could you imagine? Could you imagine hitting that portal, dropping portal, and then, like, if we had that mana, that's a great draw, man. Or if they would have let us keep the Goblin for a turn, that ramp there. Hellraiser coming down, there's only a chance, though. We would have exiled 3 cards, not all the cards, so we would have had a chance to hit portal. And then we would have wiped this board. They probably would have used this ability here, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn you may play those cards. That's probably what they would have ended up doing, I would say. Hey, good game, opponent. I'm sorry I couldn't have put up more of a fight for you. I should have mulliganed. I know. Let's hop into the next one, guys. I think there's a lot of instances when you are playing 25 land where it could be worth the risk of not dropping the mulligan. I'm not sure that hand was necessarily the one that was worth the risk, though. For example, if we had Arbiter Reunion... Oh wait, the Atali did play Arbiter Reunion, right? Unless that was in their deck. I wasn't really paying attention whose deck they got that from. Because the second card they hit was the Fable, so we could have been... I have no idea. Anyways, if we would have seen that Bitter Reunion in our opening hand, then it would have been more worth the risk of keeping a 2-land hand. You know what I mean? So, wow, speaking of worth the risk, I'll tell you what, man. I guess we mulligan. Opponent goes first here, too. There's a chance that it's mono-red, and both of these are pain lands. I don't want to have a similar match and let you guys down, so we're going to drop the mulligan. Okay, alright, much better. And we'll keep the 6 and drop 1 with the Multiverse. We want to send this to the grave, but everything else in hand is going to be pretty necessary, I would say. Like hitting the Moonveil as a blocker as soon as possible. Yeah, maybe soldiers with a... Yeah, might be soldiers with the Sea-Chrome Coast. Alright, probably not worth playing anything. I'm just going to go Swiftwater Cliffs here. And prepare for the Fable of the Mirrorbreaker next turn. Sarkhan. So probably up against some control. Sarkhan's probably an easy one to dissipate. I've been seeing a lot of dissipate recently. But I'd say we'd rather hit the Fable onto the board, because we can always see the second Sarkhan off of the second Fable chapter. So, like, if they want to counter this, that's fine. We have a better play next turn, is what I'm thinking. And if it actually lands, then we don't have to see the 4th land. We can go Moonveil Regent. Okay, probably spot removal then. Or some tempo, like Fading Hope, something. Union, alright, up to 26. Alright, Union of the Third Path plays Dissipate as their counterspell. I have no idea why that's the counterspell Union of the Third Path plays, but that's what they play, so gotta be prepared for that. Spot removal with the Fateful Absence. Well, that's a shame. Too bad our Moonveil Regent doesn't have Flash, huh? That'd be cool. We don't see a land here. We are getting a little unlucky with the lands. We could go Clue, but since, like I said, their choice counterspell is Dissipate, I don't think Union actually runs Make Disappear, does it? So I think it's safe to go Fable, and I think it lands. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe it does run Make Disappear. I might be wrong here. Or it might run like a 1 of Negate. Syncopate! Ah, man! Well, this is going to be an uphill battle, guys. Oh, they missed their 5th. That's good news. But we're missing our 4th right now. Why does the music sound so loud recently, guys? Alright, we're going to go Bitter Reunion. We're going to search for that land. I go back in the video and I listen, and it doesn't sound too loud, but if it's ever too loud for you guys, let me know. We're gonna ditch the portal, because of course we're trying to cheat that out from the grave anyways. Hey, Stormcarved Coast, let's go. All right, so we have Cathartic Pyre open, not worth it, right? We could just draw off with a clue, or drop Invasion, hit 5. That's not bad. It's not bad damage. And if they use a counter spell on Invasion, we have a better chance of landing a dragon. Nope, no counter. Let's do it. Max damage. Here's my hand, opponent. That's my hand of dragons. And at this point too, we still want to talk about potentially 26 mana. It really depends, of course, more testing required. You never know when you're just getting unlucky for the first couple games, you know what I mean? Yeah, it looks like they're not getting mana either, which is great news. At least we're on the same level here. Except this makes everything cheaper, so double blue for a Dissipate could still happen. Moonveil. I guess it's Moonveil, man. I don't see a reason not to try it. If they counter it, we play Moonveil number 2. It could be another Fateful Absence as well, which eventually we'll be able to use. So Brotherhood's End is artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit the apparatus, and as the apparatus goes, the more turns they end up taking, the worse this gets for us easily. I believe Union runs few board wipes as well, so we do have to be cautious with that. It's going to be an uphill battle, guys, for sure. We go Moonveil, we could go Bitter Reunion, swing at the Invasion, flip the Thunder Mob, but then it's like I said, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a board wipe at some point here. We're going to attempt second Moonveil before the swing. We're going to decline, because we don't want to discard 3, draw 1. That'd be bad. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to just not use the Bitter Reunion yet, because we're going to try to use that haste to wrap up a game. And we're going to keep it simple. We're going to get this down to 1, make sure that it's at a level where we can easily try to take it out. For example, they wiped the board with a Depopulate. We used the Moonveil Regent's bottom ability and hit this for 1 damage. That could be really good for us. Mind Splice, Union, the White Sun's Twilight is generally... Exile, crap. Well, that ruins the Moonveil Regent's ability. Oh no, guys. That only cost them 2 mana because of Mind Splice Apparatus. This is going to be a pain. How are we going to do this? Woo! Burn down the house. You know what? That would be a great one for them to counter. They have so many cards in hand. I think we try it. The only other option here would be going Clue. Alright, let's get this. And if it's spot removal, it has to be exile removal. In other words, we're flipping that Invasion. Overall, we're doing all right. I think this is leaning towards the opponent just because the longer that the game goes on, the more they see just more of the nonsense with like board wipes and everything. And as we're trying to set up really cool things, they are just drawing things that destroy the really cool things. So I don't really know. Wow, they pass it right back. It's got to be instant speed. Spot removal then is my assumption. Gonna play the Crucible as a land because boy, the land is coming hard right now. If Hellraiser hits, we get Portal for free. And Portal might be worthwhile unless they end up exiling everything with another Sun. I'm sorry, opponent, I'm thinking. Because if we skip Hellraiser for now, I think that might be the best bet, guys. Let's go for a draw. If we can get another land for next turn, we can give Hellraiser haste at some point, try to be a little bit more surprising. And Soul of Flame, that's pretty good. We'll play that after the swing here. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, that's great, actually. That's pretty good. If it was spot removal, they would have wanted to do that before the swing. Maybe they just kept open some counter spells. Down to 15, it's gotta be the second board wipe, right? But if we don't set up a way to win, if we play around the board wipe every time, Mind's Place Apparatus number 2, it's gotta be the White Sun's Twilight, right? White Sun's Twilight, then we take the turn to Brotherhood's End. And White Sun destroys, not exiles, so as long as they don't have their second one right away. Oh, Sunfall, the exile again. Oh, that's painful, guys, that's painful. Now, the good news is they probably power up the first one, and then at least the portal will hit that. No, they're gonna keep it, because it doesn't say anything about sorcery speed. That makes sense. We could still go Brotherhood's End to get rid of these incubators. So we have Hellraiser, and we could give it haste. We're in trouble, man. We're in trouble. We don't want to go Brotherhood's End yet. We don't. Woo, this has been painful. Let's see if Hellraiser even hits the board first. I think this has to be the play. We can't sit here and do nothing. Then we're gonna attempt the portal. Unfortunately, everything's been exiling, so the portal isn't doing too much. But now, if it's gonna be destroyed, then we can keep bringing Hellraiser back every turn at least. So, I mean, that's something, right? They only have 3 mana, so it's not gonna be a Wandering Emperor, because Apparatus is only sorcery and instant. And it's worth the 4 swing here, because we don't have any guaranteed extra draws. Fateful Absence. Okay, now we can bring that back and replay the Bitter Reunion. Unless they have removal for the portal. They might. They very well might. On their 6th mana. But not like it matters. These 2 apparatuses are terrifying, dude. Absolutely terrifying. Don't look at that portal. That portal's not doing anything to you, opponent. You let that portal alone. Okay, Crab Host Seed Shark. If they have removal for the portal, I can't think of what it would be in a Union deck. I guess they could run March of the Otherworldly Light. No, opponent, dude, we're dead. Do we give it to them? We're 27 minutes in. You guys know me. I don't like conceding. We better see everything first. We can't hit the Seed Shark with the Brotherhood's End unless we double down, which we might have to do. Hellraiser. It's good, but now we don't have the portal or anything. So if we go Invasion to their face, that's 3 damage. Down to 12. But we probably need to get rid of the Seed Shark here, right? So we go 2. We see if it lands. It does, because they still have a mana open here. We're going to go Submit 0. We'll keep the Hellraiser a little bit of a surprise here. 2 cards for 1. Not the greatest. Not the greatest, but if we had like a second dragon, I guess it would have been just the Invasion. But I think getting rid of the Seed Shark there. Wow, that was an Incubate for 10? Oh, they maxed out the March. Oh, I missed that. Oh, we're gonna let them play this out, guys. Yeah, they have a good chance here. I guess we still have Brotherhood's End, but they might just immediately... 1, 2. They might immediately counter this. We'll see, we'll see. Because it could be counter, and then they wrap it up next turn. Nope, no counter spell. We're still alive. This was a brutal deck to go up against, but you gotta appreciate when, you know, Control actually runs ways to win. And so this new version of Control with the Incubate tokens, we've been seeing every now and then. This is definitely not the same Union of the Third Path deck that we saw a couple months ago. Oh, White Sun's Twilight. Well, Capricious Hellraiser has a chance of hitting Brotherhood's End. We get rid of their artifacts. They have 31 cards in the deck. Yeah, better play that in case it's a... Well, I guess they could syncopate for a lot, dude. This Mind Splice apparatus has 8. Yeah, we're dead. We're dead. Syncopate for 10. I wonder what the turning point of the match was. I guess just not seeing our early land. They didn't either, but if we did, maybe it would have been a little different. I don't know. The quadruple board wipes was probably a lot too, right? I think it was 4 board wipes this match too. Was it? White Sun's Twilight, 2 Sunfalls. The exile on these were brutal. They had March of the Otherworldly Light to immediately take care of the copy of Portal. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that would have been a super uphill battle regardless of what we saw. I think if we would have seen land every single turn, we would have still been on the run. Although, they did have a couple turns where they didn't see the 5th mana. No, that didn't matter. That didn't matter. They had the apparatus on the board, so they still could have cast the exile board wipe for cheaper anyways, right? So, yeah, I don't know about that one, man. All right, opponent. What are you bringing to the table, buddy? Something less brutal than control. Something less brutal. At this point, I'm interested to see how we'd do against just some basic mono-red aggro, you know? Like, are we going to be able to actually withstand? Alright, we'll go Mountain. Make them think we have a Play with Fire open. It honestly might change their first play. Swamp. Okay. The second Mountain. Keep the blue sources hidden for now. Although, if we would have played blue, maybe they would have played around a Make Disappear too. That could have been a play. It was either hide everything we're playing or... Alright, so Dragon Engine would be a safer bet because Go for the Throat doesn't hit it, but it does still get picked up by a cut down, where Sarkhan does not get picked up by a cut down. Probably Fable then. Because hitting the 2/2 token with either of those spot removals that I just mentioned is fine. Like, go ahead, take the 2/2 out. Like, we're still gonna have the next 2 chapters on Mirror Breaker, so... Yeah, seeing the mana here is really nice, but 6 mana right away with 25. This is why if we go up to 26, how often are we actually gonna get flooded out? So Go for the Throat. There's no guarantee that they didn't also have cut down for both situations here. Okay, Mishra's Foundry. A version of Mono Black that we don't necessarily know yet. Like, if they play Graveyard Trespasser, then it's probably just the normal Mono Black mid-range, right? And then potential Sheoldred next turn, stuff like that. We should probably drop the Dragon Engine and drop a Mountain. Keep the double blue for now. Dragon Engine can come back with Unearth at some point, and I think filtering this out is better than the extra land. Okay. So Sarkhan still gets picked up by a second Go for the Throat. Got to get the Reflection. I'm gonna go Bitter Reunion this turn, guys. The opponents haven't played anything yet. I think we can take our time, ditch one of these islands, and see what we see. Honestly, I'm just happy that there's no blue on the opponent's side. Like, we don't have to play around counter spells for once. I guess we'll get the Reef down. And ditch the second island. We don't need too many red... We don't need too many blue sources. We need a lot of red sources in this build, though, so... we're gonna ditch the island, keep the mountain. One with the Multiverse. Okay, see, now we're seeing a lot of land. Very different game. It's a little funny. Soaring, alright. I mean, it's a version of mono black mid-range as far as I can tell so far. The opponents just haven't played too much. I'm assuming this 3 was open just to have... Oh, there's the Trespasser. Okay. We might be favored against mono black, guys. We might be. So we go Stormcarved, right? Moonveil's great, but saving that for next turn could be awesome too. We go... Actually, we should take out Soaring, huh? We should take out Soaring. 6 damage to Soaring. Yeah. Yeah. That makes more sense to me. Because Soaring can generate a lot of extra value as the game goes on. So if we saw a path where we were free to take care of it right there, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So another option would have been copying the Moonveil, swinging for 4, but they would have got to keep the Soaring on the board for an extra turn. If we had that extra mana... No. Yeah. Actually, that... Oh, the Moonveil Regent's ability, though. Oh, Bitter Reunion's gone, taking 2. So, creature... It's gonna be Reflection. We should keep the Moonveil on the board. Oh, Hellraiser. Okay, now we're talking. Not too much that we want to hit with Hellraiser right now. Actually, that should probably be the play, even though we don't have too much to hit with it. But I guess we'll just go Sarkhan for the turn. I guess. I think there's a chance that we get 9 cards in the graveyard too, and get Hellraiser down to 3 mana, which is really good. We don't want to lose the Hellraiser to like the ability on the Dragon Engine, but you never know. Ouch. Gonna do the Regent, hit for 2. And Cut Down doesn't hit the Sarkhan, so we go Hellraiser, copy. If we had that second Bitter Reunion, that would be terrific. That would be so good. Wondering if we keep that mountain. Yeah, if that Bitter Reunion was still on the board, this would be insane. Maybe we can find it here. Take action. Hey, Bitter Reunion, cast it for free. Discard the mountain. That's 8 damage to the opponent's face, guys. We're doing it. We're doing it for sure. We gotta plug that damage through before it's too late. We're gonna play Mountain over Lounge because Lounge has the cycling on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've seen 11 land so far. Is that excessive? We're 21 cards in. Yeah, I guess that's a little excessive, but that's why we have so many cards that filter too. This has been a great showcase of the deck. This has been terrific actually so far. We've withstood 2 Invoke Despairs. There's a second Soaring. They should probably, yep, get the blocker in the air. Because they don't know when another dragon can hit the board. Trespasser. Okay, what's going to be the best way? Yeah, take Dragon Engine. Oh, that's a pain. Back up to 4. They have the blocker in the air. We needed to see, like, a dragon off the top. Oh, you know what? Okay, well, we found another land anyways. I was going to say, if we played Xander's Lounge last turn, then we could have played Mountain this turn into the one with the Multiverse. But we found the land anyways, so we didn't get punished for that. Nice. So what do we hit with this then? Invasion is only going to do 2. I guess we hit their face? What's this at? Soaring? Maybe Soaring. Maybe. Then they're forced to block in the air. They don't have any more. They go back up to 6. I don't know. Now that one with the Multiverse is down, they're going to need their third Invoke Despair, which would be pretty lucky, I would say. I feel like that would be pretty unlucky for us. They dropped the GGs. Get the GGs ready. I don't know if that means second or third Invoke Despair GGs or GGs for us, like winning. I don't know. You can never tell sometimes with opponents. They can grab something else just to land off the top with the one with the Multiverse. If we would have swung Invasion, I think they would have kept their 2-3, by the way. So if they had a... We're going to take the 3. I don't know what's in hand. I don't like risking the Soul Aflame to something that I can't think of right now. Okiba. Nice, back up to 7. Unlicensed Hearse, that is terrific against this deck. That's scary, dude. Unlicensed Hearse is awful against Portal to Phyrexia and everything. Like, what do we see off the top? Land, get out of here, land. We need to win. Oh, Mightstone, Weakstone for free. Draw 2. Try to see a dragon. Right? It's got to be draw 2, I would say. It's got to be. Draw 2. Because we don't want to hit Trespasser or anything. I guess, yeah, no, they're back up at 7, which is the biggest issue right now. All right. Moonveil Regent for 3. Burn down the house. That should do it. Because we still have mana for burn down the house. This is 8 in the air, so even if they have spot removal, the burn should be able to get there. GG opponent. Let's go, guys. That was a great showcase of the deck. I could not be happier that that was the last match. Overall, the opponent had a relatively slow start, but we also got pretty flooded this game too. So I don't know. I think that was a great showcase of what the deck is actually capable of. And, you know, mono black mid-range is kind of sort of everywhere. So not bad. Not bad at all, guys. All right. Overall, I guess how many matches did we play? 3? Something like 3. I wish we could have showcased more games. It's pretty fun. I like it. It's you know, I think it's going to depend. How lucky can you draw, right? I don't think we want to go up to 26. I think that last game really showcased why we don't. And worst comes to worst, if you're stuck on 2 to 3 land, then you should be seeing cards like Cathartic Pyre, Bitter Reunion, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, just cards that help you filter a little bit. And of course, Cathartic Pyre, Invasion acting as early removal, Brotherhood's End acting as early. Once you get the ball rolling, cards like Elder Dragon War and Burn Down the House will help you against the mono red and the soldiers and stuff that goes wide, anything like that. We've been seeing some mono white aggro too. Don't forget Elder Dragon War hits your own creatures too, so if you have some blockers with like Fable of the Mirror Breaker and stuff, those are going to get hit by the Elder Dragon War as well. At some point, you're just trying to like get that set up for the Hellraiser drop and get Portal back from the grave, wipe the opponent's board again, and like swing in with a Sarkhan that copied the Hellraiser. And I'll tell you what, man, it might actually be pretty decent, and maybe I just could have gotten a little luckier today. But at the same time, I think maybe we still want to label it as jank, because pretty much anything outside of the extremely competitive meta should probably be labeled jank until proven otherwise, right? Yeah, I think the new Sarkhan's really cool. Looks like a card that's just waiting for better dragons to be plugged into standard, but Hellraiser is pretty good, man, and playing a 3-mana Moonveil Regent and still having enough mana for that burn down the house in that last game is really cool. We saw there how the one with the Multiverse can really come in handy for wrapping up games, so I wouldn't drop this for the 4th portal by any means. And we also saw how the opponent was playing the Unlicensed Hearse. Guess what? That's not the first time we saw it in the last few days. I don't know if it was on video. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was when I was testing. I was testing out another deck, which I'm going to leave nameless because it might be a surprise at some point, but it also cared about the graveyard. So the Unlicensed Hearse was kind of a pain in the butt. So maybe people are plugging that into more builds recently because of all the Atraxa that we've been seeing, right? So Just something to think about for sure. If you have a graveyard strategy, Atraxa is definitely a thing. So people are trying to put more cards in their deck to deal with graveyard strategies. And, you know, Graveyard Trespasser has been a thing for quite some time. So I think the tapped land was fine. You know, we're just splashing the blue for Sarkhan, and the one with the Multiverse might be a little unnecessary. But honestly, if the tapped land doesn't slow you down at all, I could see dropping these islands for a couple more Swiftwater Cliffs. Sometimes the game comes down to the last bit of health, and so the life gain on this could be huge. So if it's really not slowing you down at all, I could definitely see that, because sometimes the islands might slow you down. If you see both islands and your Soaring City and you never get to cast your Hellraiser, that would be a sad time for sure. Even if these are slowing you down, at some point you might be getting a lot of extra land, so you could just send the slow land to your Bitter Reunion, Cathartic Pyre, and Fable, and even Elder Dragon War helps you filter cards into the grave. So I liked this one, guys. It was pretty fun. I'm kind of up in the air with whether or not I got unlucky for the first couple games, or whether or not that's how the deck is usually going to perform. I think it can do a thing overall, but yeah. And that last match too, we could have swung Moonveil Regent copied with Fable, and then when the Fable token died, we could have used that bottom ability on the Moonveil, so we would have been able to keep the Bitter Reunion. Luckily, we didn't get punished for that, and we still were able to get that victory. So guys, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.